I'll answer my own question that I usually ask our guest upcoming here on the Lewis Automotive Hotline, who's Brett Dolan, and it's really difficult to keep track of where Brett is when we're talking to him. But I know for a fact that he's in Fayetteville because he'll be on the call for Arkansas LSU softball today. So, Brett, I know where you are. How you doing?
I'm doing great, yes. Today and tomorrow we've got some softball, and I'll try and sneak over afterwards to catch you guys over at baseball because we have the call on Saturday. So it's a bat and ball weekend, to say the least.
Give me a preview of this series. This is the last regular season series for the softball team, ranked number 2 in the country. And, man, we're still trying to break through to Oklahoma City. This looks like maybe they could be the team.
Yeah, and it's interesting, kind of the baseball and softball fortunes. It looked like early on Arkansas baseball was going to be a top 8, no doubt, and softball maybe a top 16. Well, now softball has moved into the top 8 discussion, which means, of course, not only hosting a regional, but potentially a super regional, which obviously aids the path to get to Oklahoma City. They've won 5 straight series. They started the year 1-5 in SEC play, have won 5 straight series since, highest program rating. National Player of the Year candidate. Briellis leading the country in home runs. So it's an interesting mix of talent, a lot of Houston girls, which I appreciate, and the team's playing extremely well. So it won't be easy this weekend, but you're right, it's crazy to be just flipping over into May and thinking about the last regular season series, but they're a couple of weeks ahead of the baseball counterparts.
So baseball, trying to figure out a way to get a series win for the first time in, it'd be 3 weeks, but against a team that hasn't lost a series yet. Bubba did say something earlier on the show here that I think bears pointing out. Texas has not had to go to play on the road against a good team this year. And, maybe in just sort of searching a little bit to find reasons why the Hogs can come out on top here. But I also know that if the Razorbacks get if they get a good start tonight from Zach Root, and Brett, I think you're like me, quality starts really aren't just 6 innings and 3 runs, but you take that tonight and feel pretty happy about it.
You would. I think that's a key for Zach, and it's a key because without a Carson Wiggins, without a Parker Coyle, those were 2 of the 3 top arms in the back end of the bullpen who are also not there. So a 4 or 5 inning start has really kind of taxed this bullpen, and that's where it starts. But I'm with you and Bubba, Phil. I think if you have to look for maybe another reason, that was an emotional weekend last weekend for Texas. Now they're coming on the road for a Thursday series. Arkansas has gone through that as well, where they come home on one less day rest than their opponents. But that was 3 big-time emotional games, 3 one-run wins, which they have specialized in this year, winning the close games, winning the low-scoring games, and the one-run games. I know there's a lot of smart baseball people that don't believe that carries over, that you just can't be a great team in one-run games all year. It kind of ebbs and flows with the randomness of our game. And I don't know how it'll shake out. Obviously, you have to give your tip a hat to Texas because it's been an amazing beginning with a team that's without their best offensive player, without their Friday starter. But I'm really curious. I was a little bit concerned these last 2 weekends, Phil, just playing Florida and A&M. I'm a little more optimistic this weekend because I just think maybe this is Arkansas's chance to kind of get back going and find a way to get 2 out of 3, which we've become so accustomed to for so many years.
I kind of going into this season expected there to be a team that would be able to score runs in bunches, would have a good starting rotation, and had a bullpen that wouldn't have to throw all that many innings. And they've had to remake themselves in terms of pitching somewhat. And I think hitting-wise, the big innings are still there. We just didn't necessarily see too much pressure that they would put on Florida pitchers throughout the last series in case of a couple of innings. But you know what it's like with a baseball team. There's ebbs and flows of a season. There's injuries. You kind of have to remake yourself in terms of what it is that you'll be good at as the season goes along. And to me, that almost feels like what these last 3 weeks have been about. It's in terms of pitching, I'm just not quite sure what it is that they want to be. I just know that if Gage Wood starts getting back to being a 5 to 6 inning pitcher and Zach Root gets back to what he was earlier in the SEC season, it can still be a team that has a good starting rotation. I don't think that just because the last few weeks haven't gone so well that it's not a team that can pitch.
I hope you're right. And who knows, maybe Gage in 3 weeks might even be starting on a Friday if he continues to throw like he did last weekend, basically on one pitch. I was kind of stunned the other day when I looked at a note covering the major leagues, and it said that staff in all the majors that has gotten the fewest innings out of their starters was the Los Angeles Dodgers, who was the one team we thought had more starters than anybody else or more candidates to start than any team in big league baseball. It just kind of hasn't worked out. Injuries, and a few guys haven't gone long. And I think we looked at Arkansas staff at the beginning of the year, and we thought, well, there's 4 starters, and maybe there could be 5. And then before long, you're trying to find 2 or 3 to get through a weekend with underperformance or, as you mentioned, just the ebbs and flows. But they've got to find a way to get some more success out of their bullpen. That deciding game of Texas A&M, I think they had 7 different pitchers give up at least a run. The game 3 last weekend, everybody who came in seemed to give up at least a run. Where you want to get this guy for an inning or maybe 2, he's a couple of batters in, he's given up a run, and now you've got to get somebody else up, and they haven't been able to find that hot hand, and I don't know who it's going to be or how it's going to shake out. They've got to find somebody who can come throw 2 or 3 innings, because Arkansas has seen that for other teams that have gotten leads and brought in guys that can throw 2 or 3 innings and shorten the game or finish the game. But my goodness, Phil, when it talks about winning series, my first year calling was 2018, and you know this time frame better than me, but Friday nights weren't automatic, but they were pretty close. That was the Blaine Knight undefeated season. Then it went into Wicklander and Cops, and we had Isaiah Campbell and Hagen Smith. They haven't lost much on Fridays, and they've been playing from behind in series, playing from behind in games, and then not able to finish off Sunday games. And something or 2 of the 3 factors in that equation have to change for them to kind of get back in their winning ways.
Brett, I want to ask you a little bit about some NBA playoffs that are going on. I don't know how much you get to kind of check it out. I don't really watch a whole lot of the regular season, but I like greatness. I like people that are good at their craft, and in the NBA playoffs, definitely they got it. If I was to give you Cleveland and Oklahoma City, the 2 number 1 seeds, against the field. Now, you would get Boston. They're a 2 seed. Would you take these 2 number 1 seeds? Because the way I look at it, man, I don't know. Denver's a little bit older. The front office stuff they had. Golden State kind of looks a little weak as well. I know they still got Steph Curry, but they're kind of getting a little long in the tooth. Who would you take, the 2 number 1 seeds or anybody else?
I guess if I had to take a 1 seed, it would be more in the East than the West. I think you're right about the West, and I've kind of watched that a little more with the Rockets and the Warriors, even though it's kept me up late trying to get through some of these games on the West Coast at long hours. But I would probably take Cleveland over OKC, but it seems like these 1 seeds have been positioned themselves well to win. I guess we're going to find out down the stretch whether they can do so. I'd like to see Oklahoma City in it. I think that would be fun. I'd like to see Cleveland in it. I think that'd be a nice change from watching Boston in recent seasons.
Yeah, I like, you think SGA at Oklahoma City, Donovan Mitchell, Spida at Cleveland, and then the other youngster, Anthony Edwards, and just him just being an athlete and putting on a show. Who would you take there, SGA or Anthony Edwards, if you were starting an NBA team?
That's a great question. I like Edwards. It feels like he's kind of under the radar a little bit because of the regular season in Minnesota. These playoffs have been a great opportunity, especially for him going up against the Lakers, because he's been on a bigger stage than he has been in throughout. There's something about his personality or his vibe that kind of draws me in that's exciting. Obviously, Shea's a pretty amazing player as well, but he's one of the few guys, probably Anthony Edwards, that I would flip on a game just to watch to see him play rather than the team concept.
I want to get back to this Dodgers thing that you mentioned a moment ago. So they're getting the fewest innings for any team in the majors right now for their starters, and yet they have the best record in the National League. Now it's okay. We can't take 1 month of the major leagues and say, well, this is how you got to operate. But I would be a little nervous if I were the Dodgers in that case, because in April you need to get we're not at a place where starting pitching is completely devalued anymore. I mean, we're not quite there, are we?
Well, we wouldn't think so. I mean, obviously Dave Roberts pulled all the right strings last year in the postseason on these staff games and trying to bring in 7-8 different relievers, and wow, that's hard to do. But Blake Snell is on the injured list. Roki Sasaki has had a little bit of like what Christian Fauch goes through. If that splitter's not operating, you're getting a high pitch count, you're putting guys on base, and it's hard to get multiple innings out of him. I found that interesting because, again, we thought they had 7 or 8 potential starters. Obviously, Ohtani's not back yet, and I don't know when he will be. But it's hard to win games when you're taxing your bullpen. And obviously, I don't know, what were they, 8-0 or 9-0 to start the year? They've not played that well since, and part of it's been because their starters haven't given them good innings or enough innings. So when we look at Arkansas losing 3 straight series, that's a pretty good place to start, and we've talked about it a lot. 4 or 5 innings taxes the bullpen, especially when you're now without 2 of your top 3 probably relievers who could come on and kind of pick up some of the pieces.
It's time to head to the track as the first leg of the Triple Crown, the Kentucky Derby, is here. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your #1 source for all your Kentucky Derby info and sports betting action. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the NBA and NHL playoffs to the MLB and UFC and boxing, BetOnline has you covered for all your online wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.